My Gavanen Melonin, and well met indeed. I am Arachir Galadirthan, the head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we continue on as the Orcs of Gundabad. So, I have returned. This video is a little bit later than anticipated. Same day, hopefully, but just later in the day than my community message suggested. But I was away in Devon, and then I was due to record a few days ago, but my entire family was stricken with a sickness bug, or 50% of us, sorry, and I had it when we came away from Devon. So I didn't really want to record, as I was in bed. But here I am, and here we are, rolling on as Gundabad. There will only be 3 videos this week: Gundabad, Ardenayam, and Faction Overview, but then we'll be back to normal next week. Maybe even a little extra to make up for the poor form of this week. But here we are with Gundabad, and what are we doing, I hear you cry, and I answer thee with the following. We are losing. The elves of the Woodland Realm are coming through Torfilin and heading and have taken Nordmazog, as you can see there, and we are mustering forces to currently reclaim it. In the south, though, we're doing a bit better, and Marauder Chief Hazol, Conqueror of Goblin Town, and owner of the longest name in the game, is currently besieging the Valesman town of Mythelberg, which is their second city, if you will. Which is a colloquial term meaning the city that would be the capital if the capital was not the capital. Lastly, in the east, the dwarves are a bit peeved off that we have not only killed their faction leader, King Dane, and nor have we simply killed Dane, but we also killed his cousin, an eminent dwarf, Gimli, son of Gloin, and now Thorin himself comes to take the doors. Now, a little bit of a lore tidbit for you. A lot of people see Thorin when they play this and think of it as the Thorin. Of course, it is not the Thorin. He died at the Battle of the Five Armies, as the film and indeed the books more accurately tell you. This is, of course, King Thorin II, whose epithet is Stonehelm. And I'm fairly certain, other than the obvious that it's a helm made of stone, I'm pretty sure we have no idea why he's called that. Whereas we know that Oakenshield is called such because he makes a shield out of a branch of oak, and thus gets the name. And Dane Ironfoot, I believe, gets the name owing to some sort of relation to the fact that it's seen as some sort of great feat / almost miracle that he is able to kill Azog all those years ago at the Battle of Azanulbazar. And I assume the name comes from that, but I've never actually looked it up. Anyway, you'll note that I'm actually killing time as I'm just moving the camera around the screen because I myself am not really sure what I'm doing. Mythelberg, let's start there. Are we going to attack, or will we wait it out? I think we'll probably wait it out. They'll attack us, we'll be able to kill more Valesmen. We need to do well in the Vale to pick up the slack we are going to inevitably suffer in the forest and the mountains. For the dwarves make a fierce foe, and you'll note that our army here consists mostly of our now trash units, the Raiders. Unfortunately. Although we've got more trash because, of course, this version is the kind of better build. We'll end the turn. Let's just end the turn. I say that because, of course, as I spoke about in the last episode, there's some changes to the way Gundabad will play when you get to play as them, in that those Raider units will be your trash, but they will be slightly harder to come across. And the Snugger units will be restricted, or possibly not even an option at all. The decision hasn't been taken yet, but in any event, they will either not come to you, or they will only come from Goblin Town, leaving the Raiders as your pure trash. I mean, I favour, personally, I do like small elite armies, but I much prefer variety, because the campaigns can last a while, and there is no... It's not a surprise that the Northern Dunedain and the Ardenayam are 2 of everyone's favourite factions, because they have longevity. As you play as the Ardenayam, you'll fight, for example, in Gondor, and you'll have your troops, and you'll have Gondor's troops, and you think, oh, this is cool, and then you'll beat Gondor, and you'll consolidate your hold in the Lands of Stone, and then you'll branch out into Rohan, for example, and then suddenly you get new units to train, and again, it gives you more impetus, and you think, this is cool. I'm going to carry on expanding, fighting across the world, because there's new things to unlock everywhere I go. That is what I like the most as a player, and what I personally strive for in anything I do modding related. I don't know why I've just added those, because they're never going to retrain. Excuse me, sorry. So,
ready for fighting. Come on!
I would prefer Gundabad to have variety. I like variety when it's restricted. So, as a that very theme. You can train Rohan units, but only in Rohan, so it doesn't feel overpowering or broken that you get them, because they only come from one location. And that is how we control it and restrict them. And so I would be more than in favour of... To be honest, I really actually am massively in favour of allowing Gundabad to train Angmar's orcs as well if they take Khazad-dum. Because I just think it works really well that if the major orcish nation in the north were to fall, i.e. Angmar were to fall under the fan fiction of DaC, then the next strongest orcish nation, where they took over the mountains, surely the remnants would then come to them, gravitate to them, because they now hold the power. They are strong enough to lead, and that is what ultimately orcs crave. Or not, they don't crave, but they are poor and weak without a leader. We're ending the turn again. And so Gundabad represent this strength. The orcs that have died would then rally around them. But then if we were to implement that for Gundabad, there would be outcry that Isengard should have it, and Mordor absolutely 100% should have it. And to that, I say yes. I am 100% in favour of taking the Northern Dunedain Beacon of Hope system and just completely cloning it for Mordor, so that they too train their allies' forces when they take their allies' lands. I think if any nation in the game should have that, Mordor should. I'm staunchly in favour of that, and it is on my to-do list, which normally means sounding out if the other mod team members have any problems with it, and if they do, slowly trying to wear them down as a pebble in a stream, with myself as the stream, just constantly barraging them. Please let me add it. Please let me add it. Please agree with me. Such is the modding discussion. Right, only 2 more turns until an army in Dane's halls has changed. Framsburg has just got a large garrison of troops, and I'm going to be taking the majority of them, because the army in the south is drawing the Valesmen attention. So if you guys head to Dane's halls as well. Now what we are missing is a general. General. Bolesmug the Wrathful is going to fill that role, so you come over too. Oh, was he training troops as well? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So if he trains a unit of Raider skirmishers, then those 2 raid units will stay as the bodyguard and or garrison. We'll take the other 3. That's our army that's going to sweep away the elves, touch wood. We've just got to wonder what to do in Nazanar. Now, if we rise up, King Thorin will be involved in the battle. And if we wait it out, I think they probably will siege us out, because King Thorin's standing next to them providing support. But we can't just sit here and do nothing. But then, King Thorin's army is actually rubbish and not very dwarven at all, so we're going to bloody well go for it. So, we rise. Fighting against Captain Gula, who will be directly in front of us, and King Thorin coming from our left-hand side. I just saved it, didn't I? So I don't need to save it. King Thorin is a formidable commander, but so is Warlord Gerzog the Wrathful, our current leader. Now, speaking of the leader, something that was requested by Nathan on Total War Center. He's a long-time fan. He's been commenting on Total War Center since almost the beginning, if memory serves. A very long-time fan. He suggested that Gundabad should be led by a king and not a warlord, to help differentiate them from the other orcish nations who are all led by warlords or chieftains, etc, etc. And after pondering on this for some time, I find myself in full agreement. And it's one of those minor changes I'm sure won't be met with anyone in the modding team disagreeing. So that is going to happen. Gundabad will now be led by a king. So this is King Gerzog. And on that theme as well, I can't move these units. That's not related to the theme, but it's bloody annoying. Today, this very day, and if he's listening, I'm terribly sorry for how long it took us to get in contact with you, but it's been pretty busy, and obviously been unwell, and I've been the main point of contact. But the unique voice clips for Gundabad are in. And owing to the fact that I wanted to use the word king, king features in a few of the new voice clips. So if you're playing as Gundabad in the future, some of your units may say things such as, I haven't listened to the clips yet, but I wrote the suggested lines, and one of them was something like, the Black Shield units might say, we are the King's Shield. Just things like that. So you are going to be led by a king, but your second in command will remain as a marauder chief, because I like that name. My favourite name of all of them is Gondor's Captain General. I think that's a cracking name. Just adding 2 military ranks together and suddenly you have a brilliant new military rank. Boromir is of course their Captain General at the moment. Or he was at the start of the game. No, we're still relatively near the start of the game, aren't we? So he must still be. I probably will do a developer diary next week. Or certainly soon, because a lot has gone on. It's been quite a while since the last one, and there's much to say and do and talk about. So I probably will do that. We need to send it off to times 6 because the time is whittling down. I think we should probably press on the others. Do they have any archers? No, not that I can see. Oh, there we are, yeah. Dwarves of the East come to fight with their brethren. Spearmen they are. Right, we will just charge the buggers. Another comment that I've seen on Total War Center and reflected quite a few times is a request to make spearmen more generic. And what I mean by that, of course, is that spearmen have a trait which allows them to be very, 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 very good against cavalry. But it makes them very, 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 very bad against infantry. Which is thematic and accurate, really, I think. Because once the spear unit gets within the reach of the spear, if they're able to parry the blow, surely the sword unit is then superior to the spear infantry, because the spearman can't then even attack. He's using the blunt end of his pole or his fist or his shield, whereas the swordsman is now actually just using his sword. So I assume that that's accurate. And indeed, in every RTS game I've ever played, a hard counter to spearmen is always infantry. So I'm going to take that as a fact. But we are going to, I believe, it may already have happened, lessen the effect of the spear so that they are not as bad against infantry, and they can actually hold their own against infantry. They won't just die by the 1,000. No! Move around freely. There we are. Right, don't throw your javelins. You guys don't shoot anyone yet either, because we don't want you. Get them over there. Take the king with you. And yeah, just come to here. How is everyone doing? Moving really slowly. It's annoying. Right, javelin troops, as you're here first, move yourselves in and do throw your javelins. Right, curl up the hill. Where are the reinforcements? Where are the reinforcements? Slowly curving around the castle like idiots. Right, you guys charging into them. Hit them. Right. You guys cut in.
The battle is very much in our favor. Victory will be ours.
You're both hitting them. You're curling around the back because you're a beast. Enemy general is dead. The enemy is routing.
Only half the enemy force
And the wargs
remains.
move in to finish the kill. The high mass stat of the dwarves always makes them bloody annoying to kill with cavalry, but we've done it. Right, and now we are to be attacked by Thorin, I should imagine, who'll be moving with a bit more haste now that we've just decimated half of his army. Get them into position. You're free to fire at will when you're in position. Right, form the line again, please. Put the general in it, what the hell. And then we'll have a unit of you on this side. Run, a unit of you. Oh, you can't see purple spots on white ground. I wonder if you can change those purple spots. Probably not. Get the general up behind and get the wargs on the corner. Now they've got 3 units of cavalry and we haven't really got any anti-cav here, save for our non-faction leader bodyguard. No, of course, we changed them a long time ago. They're two-handed swordmen. Who are you? Oh, I forgot you. Sorry, I forgot you existed. 49 of them are in that line as well. Are they coming back to fight? Oh no. Don't be just randomly shooting those. That's stupid. Oh, they're really going slowly, aren't they? And that's mostly cavalry that we're defending against there, so move to the other hill. Get the jabs in. Move them to there. And the other ones also can... Oh, you might as well stay out there. And you're going to get hit by a big cavalry charge, so brace yourselves. But otherwise, it's gone swimmingly. Thorin will be the real threat, but we've got Khazad-dum. And he will kill him. Oh, they've got some cell swords. Oh, of course, I saw them on the left. Idiot. There they are. King's bodyguard, and there he is. Thorin Stonehelm. King under the mountain. Not for long, of course. And there's his men he's managed to rally from Dale. Speaking of the longevity thing, if memory serves, I believe the base game keeps the surprise by expanding quite heavily on the guild system. And the crusade feature as well, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure you can get certain units only by going on crusades. So that makes them obviously inherently very rare. Now the hidden units there actually will be a right boon. Oh, javelins are throwing in. Oh, excellent. And they're charging, and out of nowhere the men stand and hit them. Oh, we need to get the wargs involved though.
If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Probably should come out of ×6. Make for that gap. Yes! Use you on the weaker, lower units. Charge down the hill.
If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Once you've finished throwing things. He's slaughtering them. Get him out. That's a waste of a general units there. Good charge. Pull out. I'm saying good charge as if they can hear me and they need the motivational inspiration, but I'm not sure they do.
Enemy force remains.
I'm sure they're doing just well. Ooh, the infantry are chasing us. Now we need our general for one unit and one unit alone. Hit him, yes! Yes! Kill them all! Flank in there, yes please. You keep killing down those cavalry. Mountain Orc Hunters are one of the most overpowered units in my opinion. Because they are dirt cheap, they are very easily replenished, and they are armor piercing with a really high attack. Like, alright, they die really, really easily, like as if they are cardboard warriors. But that just doesn't matter when you can replace them on a whim, and for pennies. Go and shut those buggers down. Who are we fighting over there? No, airable infantry.
Only half our force remains.
Oh yeah, but like none of their force remains. King Thorin is dead. It's over. Someone's still fighting on. Oh, Thorin's bodyguard. Yeah. First Captain Gula, and now Thorin himself. And the men of Dale flee back into the wilderness of the Withered Heath. Very few in number now. as we just wait for Thorin's retinue to go down. And the last days of the dwarves are truly upon us. If the bodyguard ever dies. Goodness! Stubborn little buggers. Him there in the middle. Yes! Oh, we lost a lot there. We lost an awful lot. Who got the most kills? 173. Warg Marauders. No surprises there. Cavalry. Very powerful. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I personally would already have my bow in a position ready to shoot if I was that close to the enemy. And there are only 3 of them. But then if he's alone, actually, he wants to get it just right, doesn't he? Doesn't want to risk giving himself away. It's very interesting, isn't it? In almost all fantasy, spiky armor is always linked with evil. And there's just no two ways about it. There's nothing inherently evil about a spike. But stick it on some armor and you've instantly got a recognisably evil character. Like, even Disney, like Maleficent, the only thing that denotes her being evil is, number 1, the absolute mainstay, she wears black clothing, and number 2, she has spikes coming out of her head in her design. Therefore, evil. It's just always the way.
Get ready for
Anyway, after that resounding success, I say that wasn't a resounding success because our army was obliterated. But we're getting a not a blacksmith, a barracks up. Do we want to go back for hold with the board? No, Naza much better castle to hold. We need a turn. And we can then retake Nord Mazog. Now that you see the thing, of course, here is when I started the video by saying we were losing. And that's somewhat of a stretch of the truth, I should imagine. Because whilst, yes, the elves took a province from us, the dwarves took a province from us, and they were surrounding us, the AI is so moronic that they do everything in their power to help you beat them. The dwarves have enough troops hovering around our eastern border to have taken Anazanat. And if not to have taken it, to have massively dented our attacking force and really significantly hurt us. But they didn't group their army into one. So instead what we got was a very easy victory, fighting 2 armies in stages, while the rest of the troops all just faff around and do sod all. And thus it becomes an easy win. And it's their own fault. Right, our army is now ready to take it to them. Stick it to the man. Once it arrives in Dane's halls and joins up with the other elites who are now also training. This is why these test runs are very, very good, because this obviously is showing us that the forces of Gundabad at the moment are much too strong for how easily available they are. Which is why we then note these things down, and these changes are made by the time you come to play, as has already been discussed. Speaking of previous things as well, the top 10 videos seemed to go down very well, and I was pleased with that. There were a couple of people that suggested I should have had the stats written on the screen like I did for the first video, but I took the view that the stats took up too much of the screen and thus sullied or soured the viewing experience a little. Oh, that's an absolutely ridiculously easy battle. So I took the stats away. I quite liked just having the unit's name and then the stats were present at the end, because the stats make up a really small fact of the overall video, if that makes sense. The stats are only used to really decide who are in the top half of the units in the game, and then once that's been decided, then I do all the various little other tests, like fighting them against each other, or the cavalry charge, or the archer one would just probably be how many men can they kill in 3 volleys, for example, kind of thing. And those make up 90% of the actual result. So the stats I didn't really feel were all that important, especially because when you do get down to the top 10, the stats are remarkably similar between units, and there's very little to differentiate between them all. So I just didn't really think it were necessary. But some people suggested it, but Unless loads of people came forward and said, you must put the stats on the screen, I think I'm probably going to stick with not having stats on the screen, because I preferred having the visuals. Also, I think people seem to be much more open to the idea, as was in the video, of fighting on different battle maps and having different scenarios. So it wasn't, every map just wasn't the flat green grassland map. There was variety, which I really liked. I personally really thoroughly enjoyed that change, and it meant I actually got to see some battle maps that usually I never see. So I was all for it. So thank you for the feedback in regards the top 10 video. Just as they come, I've moved everyone. Get into position. Stop what you're doing so that you all actually start doing things. No, yeah. Oh, bugger. Skin changes. Who have they gone for? Snow Spears. It's not good. Throw the trash at them. We just need to surround them and overwhelm them. They've simultaneously struck everywhere in the line. Get the javelins out. No, don't do that! Why did they do that? Oh, God, do I hate this game. Oh, yes, yes. Let's just all bloody go wide and look like utter morons. Now throw your javelins at them and stop ticking me off. Come forth. You're required as well. Anduin are doing much better than I thought. Skin Changes are doing well. Raiders are curling around on them though. Veilsmen, they're nothing. But the Veil... They were Veil defenders, but now they are Bjorning shield bearers. They're doing well. Oh, warriors, of course, they'll be doing well. They're berserkers. Throw your javelins at them. Stop standing around. No, I mean, we're definitely going to win. It's
the enemy are badly bloodied.
Brain.
They have lost half their men.
Oh, yeah, they're even losing men. But the berserkers are doing well. Right, now you're in positions. Throw your javelins into their backs. And again. Give them all you have. Yes. I tell you what, I am looking forward to, completely unrelated to the video, but it just popped back into my head, because I put my dinner on before I started recording this. So when I finish recording this, I've got tasty treats awaiting me for my evening meal. So that... Don't worry about actually chasing them down and doing your job. No, you just let them walk through you. We lost 548. That's an awful lot, I think. But 105 kills went to Snow Orc Raiders. Well done, men. Orcs. There is some still ongoing backlash from lore purists in regards to the fact that Gundabad are better than Isengard, and every now and then a comment does crop up, and but it is what it is. There's not enough backlash. Gundabad, on the whole, is absolutely loved. People are desperate to get their hands on Gundabad. If we had made an absolutely terrible decision, we would know it, more than the odd minor rumbling. So this is one of those occasions where I'm going to have to say I'm afraid that the democracy in which we live means that you've been outvoted, and if you really dislike Gundabad, you will have to, unfortunately, learn how to mod the game to remove them. Or just delete them every time at the start of the game. Just do go to the console, surrender_regions space Gundabad, enter. And that will delete them. Because Gundabad are not a changed European faction. So, for example, in the files... I can't stand with Mordor. In the files, Mordor, for example, are called England. And the dwarves are called the Moors. And Dale are Scotland, etc., etc. But Gundabad are called Gundabad, and Canned are called Canned. They're the only two that actually have their real names. Everyone else is a converted European. Oh, a grog hut. We haven't built one of them yet. Is there anything here we can destroy? Where's their barracks? Already destroyed. Very well. Very well. Chuck a shrine. Is there a unit that can be retrained because it's been depleted? Yeah. Oh no, look, we can still train them. Well done, men. Oh, that is a sizable army. Captain Iltreo. Don't really want to ruffle his feathers. Dorwinian and Mirkwood are at war, and Khazad-dum and Moria have allied. What? That is a strange one. That is a very strange one. Why have Khazad-dum and Moria... My mind is... baffles at this.
Get ready for fighting.
You might as well go as far back as you can. Safety in numbers and all that. Get some of the trash out. See, I do like the idea of the snagger being trash available everywhere. And part of me is tempted to relieve the snagger as trash that's available everywhere and just make the raiders much harder to come by. And just leave it at that. So you basically do get 5 different types of trash units, but all of them will have much, much slower recruitment. So, in fact, that might be the way to go, actually. Because at the minute, the snagger for Gundabad train as normal snagger. They take about 4 to 5 turns. So, 4 turns. Just 4 turns between training them. And at the minute, it's 10 turns on the skirmishers. But if the skirmishers were pushed back to match the snow orcs, and the snagger will push back to about 12 turns for Gundabad only, then I think it would balance out. It'd still take a long time to get your... You'd still have smaller armies, even though you may then... Why am I doing that again? I shouldn't do that. I'm doing the retraining thing. Right, I'm going to give it one more end turn, see how the lie of the land is, and then probably end the episode there. I was going to say something else. No. Oh, he did attack us. Scum! So, that's a question for you all then, for those that have remained to the end of the video. Would you rather have snagger and raiders available everywhere, we'll call this option A, but they have slow replenishment, i.e. 14, 15 turns for raiders and 12 to 15 turns for snagger, probably 12 turns? Or would you rather raiders remain or come... Raiders are going to be pushed back anyway. So, or would you rather have raiders at about 12 turns and available everywhere, and snagger remain at 4 turns but only in Goblin Town? We'll call this option B. So, which would you rather? Do let me know. Oh, I can do that.
Can I help, my lord?
Yes, you can go over there.
Without question, my lord. Continuing tomorrow.
Right, so Mythelberg needs to be relieved. Oh, our retraining worked. Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Because I just think, I don't know, the snagger, whilst they are an overly represented unit, and every orc faction actually gets one type of snagger or another, Dol Guldur obviously have their own version of snagger, but they are still very much snagger in everything that they do. But I think there's just a... They form up so perfectly with the orc like mentality, if you will, in that it's just numbers. Numbers. I suppose I'm also quite biased because I never play as an orc faction, so the revelation of having a trash unit that I don't have to care about and I can kill by the thousands and train more in a heartbeat is such a lovely idea. Whereas I'm sure if I'd played every orc faction, I'd probably find snagger quite boring and I'd be against them. But there we are. Anywho, I do hope you've enjoyed this return to recording. I certainly have, but I feel like I haven't done anything. But I do hope you've enjoyed it regardless. Of course, as I say, there'll be an Ardenheim campaign episode this week as well, and a faction overview, which is going to be whoever it was. Isn't it Khazad-dum? I think it's Khazad-dum. I can't remember. No, yes, it is Khazad-dum, and then after that is the only one left, and then I'll do a Gundabad as well, just to show you them, and I'm rambling. I'm going to go and have dinner now, so thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. It's a pleasure to be back, to be with you all again, and until we speak again, dear friends, Navair Naden Perumad Melonin, and farewell.